Welcome to the first in a series of nonpartisan presidential debates. My name is Judy Frankel, founder of Writeindependent.org and mother of a special needs child. I'm moderating this debate today to elevate the national discourse and fix our broken government because I want my daughter to inherit a better place than the one we're starting with today. Our first debate focuses on the economy and jobs, how our government spends our money, and what these candidates would do differently. I will be questioning 3 of the presidential candidates who have posted their platforms on our website. The order of questioning was predetermined by an arbitrary method. After each question, the candidate will have 2 minutes to respond. Then the other candidates have 1 minute each for rebuttals. I may ask the candidates for additional clarification up to 30 seconds each. In your opening remarks, candidates, we would like you to state your name, how you are running for president, whether write-in or on the ballot, and any party affiliations you may have. In addition, tell us where you reside, your website address, and a bit about your background. You will each have 2 minutes to introduce yourselves, but first I want to introduce all 3 of you just by name. On the left, we have Andre Barnett. In the center, Harry Braun, and on the right, J.L. Mueller. So, Andre, why don't you start with your opening statement?
Yes. My name is Andre Barnett. I reside in Poughkeepsie, New York, Hyde Park, New York. It's part of the Dutchess County area. I am going to be on the ballot. I'm running for the Reform Party, and I am right now their front runner. My background consists of 4.5 years in the military. At that time, I was injured and chaptered out. I spent most of my career working for the government overseas. I've lived overseas for 9.5 years studying their economies, their military movements, their government actions, and basically the environment in which they think about or how they think about U.S. citizens and our nation. So I've worked alongside the FBI, the CIA, NATO, and various other intelligence agencies, as well as our allied forces. I moved back to New York over 7 years ago, and I have been here since. I own a small business. Information technology and telecommunication are the services that we provide, and the business is Wisdom Incorporated. My website is www.andrebarnett2012.com. This is where you can find out all about me and my platform. Thank you.
And how do you spell your website address, since most people don't know how to spell your name right now?
It's ANDREBARNETT 2012.com.
Okay, Harry, why don't you tell us about yourself? Harry?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name's Harry Braun. I was born in California, and I now live in Arizona in the White Mountains with my wife. We moved here to get away from all the pollution in Phoenix. I am running as a write-in independent presidential candidate, and I am the senior scientist of an energy and environmental research foundation that's focused on getting off of oil, coal, and other fossil fuels and shift to a solar hydrogen economy with wartime speed. We're focused on that because that's what the National Academy of Sciences is saying we must do if we're going to protect the planet we live on, since burning these fossil fuels is what's causing most of the most serious economic, environmental, and healthcare problems that we are all now facing. In addition to actually understanding these problems, because I come from the world of science, I'm the only candidate, so far as I know, that actually has technical solutions to these problems. And as I mentioned, shifting from oil and coal to hydrogen made from the wind and the water is the essence of that solution. I like to remind people that all green plants on the earth have been using the solar hydrogen energy system very successfully on a global scale for the past 3 billion years. That's why we water our plants. We want to do the very same thing where we modify all of our cars, trucks, airplanes, power plants. If it uses energy, we want to run it with a pollution-free and inexhaustible fuel. And there's only one fuel that fits that, which is non-toxic, and that's hydrogen. That's our focus, and in order to make that happen, we have to get past tens of thousands of lobbyists from the oil and coal and nuclear industries. And the only way I know how to do that is to implement Article 5 of our Constitution, which would allow us to essentially pass a democracy amendment that would put the majority of citizens in charge of the federal government instead of the lobbyists.
Okay, Harry, would you tell us your website address, please?
Yes, details can be found on Braun, BRAUN 2012.us. And we always like questions, of course.
Thank you very much. And JL, why don't you tell us your opening statement?
Hello, I'm JL Mueller. I live in Lakeside, Arizona, up near White Mountains. In fact, on top of the White Mountains, in a resort area. My party affiliation would be considered Constitution Party. I am meeting some of their ballot requirements in various states. I'm working with Americans Elect for complete ballot access in all 50 states. And of course, Writeindependent, as is where needed. My life has been pretty much designed around building alternative fuel vehicles, automobiles in general. I've been a developer, a builder, and I know that the only way that we are ever going to get through the red tape with the government is by forcing them through a National Security Act. And that's the only thing the president can actually do, because the definition of the president is basically a top cop. My URL is Mealer 2012, MEALER 2012.com. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much for your opening statements. And now we're just going to dive right into the questions. The first one's about the budget. Obama's budget, though closing the gap on debt, still remains $1.3 trillion short of being balanced in 2012. Rather than imagine the dire consequences of what might happen if the U.S. were unable to borrow money from other countries to pay its bills, what would you recommend to balance the budget? And we're going to start with Andre.
What I would recommend is basically going back to a fundamental standard. That's the first thing. We can't depend on ones and zeros anymore across this country and internationally. The ones and zeros are not real money. That's why we have such a high inflation. That's why everyone can have credit. That is not a system that is sustainable. That's the first thing. Whether it be a gold standard, hydrogen standard, or silver, oil, whatever the standard, it has to be something that has physical properties to it, not just something that's in cyberspace. When we go to a different country and we bail them out, so to speak, we're not dropping a load of money there. We're just transmitting ones and zeros from one bank account to another. And that just has no credibility. What we have to do in order to stabilize our economy is bring jobs back. And the way we bring jobs back here after going to a standard is really getting corporations to take part in an environment that's going to grow those jobs. The American government, as many have said, cannot create jobs. What we can do, however, is provide the environment where jobs can be created on a vast scale across this country. My platform actually takes part in a program that says, hey, you know what, we want you to come back. We'll give you a 12% corporate tax rate. That's 12%. That is almost lower than any other country in the world. We're running along the same lines as Japan, China, it's China. And we would be able to have fundamental growth in every sector. And that is including manufacturing, solar and wind power, which you're going to see China has actually got a huge jump start on us in. Okay. And Harry, I agree with you on these things, but that is something that America can actually take the lead on. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Judy.
Okay, Harry, would you give us a 1-minute rebuttal, please?
Can I? Do I have 1 minute or?
Yeah, you have a minute. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, when you say the American government can't create jobs, Andre, I would ask you about. Are you familiar with Hoover Dam?
Yes, I am.
Didn't the government create all those jobs that created that project, and it's been making millions of dollars for the American people ever since the 1930s, right?
Hoover Dam was a project. Yes, it was created back. It was a successful project run. However, the American government cannot sustain those particular jobs. Where are they going to get the money to sustain those jobs?
Those jobs create wealth. We spend over $1 trillion every year to buy oil and coal. If we were making hydrogen from wind machines in the water, that $1 trillion a year wouldn't go to oil companies or foreign countries like Saudi Arabia or Iraq or Iran. That money would go to the American people because the technology to make hydrogen from water was developed in the 1800s, which means it's in the public domain. Nobody owns it. Just like Hoover Dam, nobody owns that kind of hydropower technology. The difference is dams are at their limits. We've built too many of them, in my view. But we could mass produce enough wind machines to make enough hydrogen to run the whole country in less than a year or two.
All right. JL, do you want to respond to that Andre's comment or Harry's?
Both, I suppose. Andre, Harry. The views on jobs are absolutely essential to the country, or we're no longer a country. We're a bunch of welfare recipients looking for handouts from China. So the jobs, whether government supplied or privately supplied, we need that incentive. Your 12% tax, business tax, is not too bad. My plans differ, which I will speak of in a moment. But overall, the plans, both your plans are rebuttal, and the plans are spot on. Although I would not expect to work for the government, to building dams or anything really. The government will not allow their cash cow, which is the taxes on fuels, to be taken away from. And I have firsthand experience with that with the Mueller automobile.
JL, I want you to expand a little bit on what your ideas were for creating jobs. You have 30 seconds.
In a few seconds. Wow.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Well, you will need to change the monetary system from everything from platinum to silver and mixed metals, which, of course, Congress will regulate the value of. And most of those elements are nuclear waste, which we already have stockpiled plenty of. So we technically would not need more to pay off the national debt, to pay off China, to pay off the Federal Reserve, toss them a coin based on that metal, hand them a certificate based on that metal. And
JL?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll have to go on, but people can find out more information if they want. This next question is about price of oil.